Oxford Languages defines opinion as a view or judgment formed by something, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. I have an opinion. Some agree, others don't. It's something that everyone has, and it's kind of sad how people either forget about it or just don't utilize it to their full advantage. Especially nowadays, where it almost seems taboo to speak your mind on certain subjects, whether it's friends or in a classroom discussion or, God forbid, social media. And considering how touchy the topic is now, I might as well just go ahead and talk about it. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. Whether you hate them or love them, they have one. And it's practically fruitless to get upset over someone just because they have one. Since I've been on campus, I've seen people get upset at others for the idea of them having an opinion on certain subjects. It's kind of weird. Let's say we have friend A like the color green, and friend B likes the color orange. And here walks in friend C, who knows nothing about these colors. These friends ask him, hey, which color do you like the most? Or what color do you think is in the wrong for whatever reason? Friend C, not knowing much of what's going on, is inevitably going to pick a color that the other one is going to detest. And you can't really blame them because people aren't going around thinking about green or orange all day. Sometimes they got homework to do or just other things in general, you know? Like the freedom of speech, the freedom of thought is a human right. And much like the freedom of speech, it's a very ambiguous tool. And you don't want to enforce either of the two. That's the power of choice. You get to say whatever you want, and you get to think whatever you want. What you say and think might not be cool to everybody, but it's your choice. The definition of opinion said, it's not necessarily based on fact or knowledge, but it is based on something. Opinions don't just poof into thin air. In that humanity, you have experience, emotion, intuition, and even moment. This is why I figure people are so defensive about their opinions. All these aspects of it are closely linked to who you are as a person. Of course, your experiences are going to lead you to think one way, or your emotions might push you to say a certain thing, but you're more than just your opinions. I would say it's unwise to claim that your opinions are your personality, because opinions change. It feels like people forgot about this. As you learn, you grow, and you refine the thoughts that you once had. This newfound understanding, not necessarily knowledge, but understanding of the world around you could reconfirm some existing opinions that you already have, or change them completely. I'm not saying that having an older opinion is inherently wrong. The same way having a newer opinion isn't inherently right either. What I am saying is that they do change, the same way you do. Speaking of change, the internet. You must have heard this like 1,000 times already. How world-changing the internet must have been. And I'm here to say that again, yeah, the internet has changed the world. I grew up in an era where there was always some internet around. I was never not having internet in my life. But that also means I grew up in an era of social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. If you have some sort of social media, hell, even if you don't have social media, some picture or photo of you is somehow going to find its way into the digital world. It's a little freaky, I know, but it's true. Everything you say or do is recorded. And to use that stuff against you it's not right. It's really not fair. I was in the 8th grade when I started my first social media account. I'm a senior in college now. You think I think differently? Years and years went by since I uploaded my first post, but on the internet, it might as well have been yesterday. Thankfully, I'm not some celebrity out in the world whose every word and every thought is being monitored by thousands and thousands of people. But if you go back far enough, there is something that you could find that someone doesn't agree with anymore. Although friend A said that they like the color green, in reality, they once liked the color orange. But that changed. It just changed. And it's sad now because people like me, or God forbid celebrities, they live in fear of speaking out or saying what they want to say without some PR disaster or some horrible consequence to befall them. You know, people lose their jobs, there's doxing, vandalism, I don't know, whatever crazy thing the internet's gonna conjure up next. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, I know that a lot of this is just internet hearsay. There's people that send death threats all the time to someone, and it's just like, whatever, you know. The internet's a tough place, but like I said, this is just not fair. And it's tough because how do you determine change in a person? Especially online. It's a tough question. But what I do know, it's a slow transition from learning to thinking to speaking and then acting. It takes time. Are we to judge people's opinions the same way we judge people's past actions? How long is long enough? When is it okay to accept that the past happened and move on? Of course, if they did something obviously horrible or really malicious, then we should share some light on that. But for the most part, for standard things like, do you like the color green or orange? What do we do about that? How are we going to interact with others and have meaningful discussions if everything in the past bogs us down? During this year, there has been a lot of discussion about green, orange, purple, the number 3. It's just a lot of nonsense has been happening so far. And opinions are being mixed in with facts. Facts are being mixed in with opinions. It's a web. And in that web, there's a bit of hatred sprinkled in there. Personally, my opinion is that we can have talks about certain topics and progress forward from our original standpoint. That hatred and violence shouldn't be the first option. Now, I'm not naive enough to say that discussion always wins. Sometimes you have to fight for what you think or what you say. But I think discussion is an important foundation for freedom, not just of speech, of thought, but of choice and of growth. Without it, you just have war and hatred. And hatred begets hatred. And that's not my opinion. Thanks for listening.